Welcome to Two Geek Girls. This will be our weekly recap of DC TV. First, we will do a recap of the first week of DC TV, which we did not do individual videos on. First, in Supergirl, Supergirl was dealing with the loss of Mon-El. On The Flash, we had to look into the lives of our favorite heroes without Barry being around and stuck in the Speed Force. On Arrow, we dealt with the backlash of everything that happened on the season finale with Lian Yu and the explosion. And then finally on Legends, the heroes broke time and what the residual effects of that will be. So with that, we're going to go into this week's recap, and we will start off with Supergirl. Okay, so first off, we have Supergirl. Her second episode of the season is entitled Triggers. It starts off where, of course, we're dealing with Kara still trying to deal with Mon-El and him no longer being there. Lena, being that she's now the new owner of Catco, she's coming in, taking over. James is pretty much kind of feeling left out because she's calling meetings and showing up when he's not expecting, and she's going to be there often, it appears. And it doesn't seem like he's really liking that too much. The villain of the episode is Psy, which is like a very, very powerful psychic that can manipulate you and everything. So that's where that name comes from. The character, I don't exactly know her name, but the woman and her daughter from the previous episode that I guess she'll be here throughout the season, and she'll become the villain Rain. She's there, and of course we know in the previous episode she saved her daughter, and her daughter's kind of like obsessed over her mother having powers, which her mother is denying. But towards the end, she tries to bend a piece of steel and it doesn't move or anything, so we don't know what's going to happen when her powers are going to manifest. I guess it has to be something crazy in the moment, and then it will manifest and come out then. But so that's pretty wraps that up. Of course, because of Kara dealing with Mon-El leaving, her and Psy with her messing with people's mind, it doesn't go over well. So she's like still coping with Mon-El, and with that psychic energy is totally messing with Kara. But then she talks through it and gets better, of course, to defeat Psy at the end. And at the end of this episode, which I think was partly some of the best parts, the last 5 minutes of the episode for me, was when Jean gets a visit from Magan, and she basically is like, come back to Mars ASAP. So I guess that's going to lead us into our third episode. I don't like to watch the trailers of the episodes, but apparently they're going to travel to Mars. I would assume something's going on back there. Okay, so next we have Flash, the second episode entitled Mixed Signals, which the villain in this was a villain by the name of Kilgore. And if you recall in the first season, there were upgrades in particular done that Cisco did to Barry's suit. So with Kilgore's powers, being able to control, I guess, anything with iron in it and anything kind of like with technology or what have you, because I remember one scene he said something about, I smell iron, I believe. So he was able to control a suit. But with that being said, all the upgrades basically with the technology. Okay, with technology. Sorry. So with him, with his suit being that way, he was able to control Bear. So it kind of backfired. However, I thought the suit upgrades was awesome. And I believe the original Kilgore looks a lot different than he did in the show, but it still got the point across of the power that he did have. And then he kind of mentioned how he didn't get his powers from the original Storm where Barry got his. So that kind of left us open-ending, kind of guessing and predicting where Kilgore got his powers from. They changed Barry's aspect of himself as a character here. Since he's returned, he's more of like the goofy, fun-loving Flash that we're familiar with. And then as far as the other side of the show, you deal with Iris finally having her break about how she felt with Barry being gone for 6 months without any notice. So they end up going to couples therapy. So from that side, you kind of break down how she was feeling this whole time, and I kind of like that part just because it opened up to her of more of the relationship side, basically, and all that she's been going through. They kind of dealt with that because when Barry popped back from the Speed Force, he kind of just resumed normal self, like he hadn't been gone for 6 months. Not to mention he made a lot of decisions without consulting her. So, but I all love I love the episode.
All right, that takes us into Arrow. I'm going to save Legends for last. Arrow season 6, episode 2. The episode was entitled Tribute. So we left off in last week's episode. By the way, heavy spoilers for this episode. We left off with last week's episode with everyone finding out that Oliver Queen was the Green Arrow. It was a picture that was shown on, I think it was News 52. And we pick up exactly where this left off. Arrow, has a new team logo that was amazing, by the way. And Oliver walks into a bunch of reporters, obviously trying to figure out and get the inside scoop. He lets them know basically that he's not the Arrow and that things should continue as planned. He also drops Bruce Wayne in the episode, so everybody's all agog about that, being that means that Bruce Wayne and possibly Batman would be officially within the Arrowverse universe. We'll see where that goes. We've had other drops before, like Bloodhaven and such, so there may be a possibility in the future that we might actually get a version of Batman on TV. We are introduced to Samantha Watson, who's the FBI agent. I loved her portrayal of this character. Based on the end of the episode, we do know that she's going to stick around. And she's basically what I feel is going to be maybe the human antagonist for Oliver, because she doesn't believe that he is in fact not the Green Arrow. I will say that the scene where Mr. Terrific was fighting and also his conversations with Felicity were some of the best scenes that they've actually written for Mr. Terrific as of today, or to date for me. And these are the first things that I've actually enjoyed of Felicity in a while. I was happy to see Anatoly back as the villain. I think he's more of a moral villain for Oliver as of right now, and I hope they continue that good dynamic between them. I love the scenes with William, which is a first because in episode 1 I did not really care for his character, but I like where they're going with his character, and I hope they continue in a positive light with him. And then finally on to Diggle. We know that he had the shrapnel that was stuck in his arm. And Oliver in the last scene, so heavy spoilers. If you don't want to hear this, go away for a minute or so and come back. But Oliver did turn over the green hood to Diggle, which with the shrapnel being in his arm, I think that's definitely going to be a problem. However, I will say that maybe this might be a way of actually getting Mr. Terrific to develop some type of chip or something that can actually help him use his arm. But we'll see where things go. Finally, Legends Season 3, Episode 2, Freak Show. I don't really have much to say about Legends because, as we know, Legends is my guilty pleasure show. They don't really have much going on. It was a very decent episode. The plot is progressing. We still don't know who Malice is, or at least I don't. I need to look that character up. We were introduced to a new character at the very end who I believe may be their villain for the first half of the season. I can't remember her name on the originals, but she was on the originals for a season. But that's pretty much all there was to Legends. It was an enjoyable episode. I guess if you would like, we can talk about predictions for where we see things going for the next shows. Just a small point, we no longer watch the trailer for next week's episode. We like to go in the go into them blind since we're doing the weekly review. So we can just kind of theorize where we would see things to go. I'll start off with Legends. I think with Legends, we're going to probably get a little bit more backstory into Amaya and what's going on with her. I also think that we'll probably learn more about the villain that we met at the end of the episode. As far as Arrow is concerned, I think Diggle's arm is going to be centric to the episode. We may get a little bit into more into Anatoly, but I definitely think we're going to get more into the Diggle situation. If I had to guess, I've heard that Roy Harper is coming back, so this may be a plot point that they're going to use to get Roy Harper back as Arsenal, with Oliver deciding to give up being the Green Arrow. I don't think it's going to last more than 2 episodes, but those will be my predictions for those 2 shows. You want to go ahead with your predictions?
My predictions for Supergirl, I believe, like I said earlier, is that I think they're going to transition to the next episode with whatever's going on Mars, which I personally feel the way Supergirl is going, that would be a nice relief. Hopefully, we can focus on some more action instead of her just being so, I feel, kind of down in the dumps over Monel situation. So I'm looking forward to more action and whatever's going on at Mars. As far as the Flash, I'm just excited to see the next episode, and maybe they can keep this goofiness and keep it lighthearted. As far as, and just future, not necessarily the next episode, but I kind of want to see when they do a future episode, like 10 years in the future, or maybe even 5 years in the future or something. And I know that's weird to say, but I'm excited for that because I feel with his ramblings on the season premiere, I just know that's going to come into play appropriately within the season. I just don't know when. So I want to see what all the markings were about and all that. So I'm still excited for things that happen from the premiere of Flash to see how that's going to play in the rest of the season. So I'm excited with Flash the entire season.
So thank you guys for tuning in. Please make sure to like the video if you did. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Please check out our other videos with regards to DCTV as they come out. And as always, stay geeky.